You're very welcome to Lorna Parker here on WLR. It's Tomas McCarthy here till 7 o'clock. Coming up, one more year. Big match commentator Kieran O'Connor on Liam Cahill's decision to stay on as Waterford hurling manager. Crystal Ball. McDermott McDonagh and Kieran O'Gorman will give their predictions for the County Senior Hurling Championship. And Pride of the Parish. Michael Hogan will tell us about one of the smallest clubs in the county on Shanfubble.
There's 8 minutes left, 2:18 to 2:23, 24, 29. 5 points between the sides. Ball the other side of there. Liam Cahill punches the air. That's what he wanted from his men. He wanted aggression, and Conor Gleeson gave it to him. Does it for the Ireland football, does it for 4 Mile Water. He's doing it for Waterford tonight. He better have been disappointed not starting. His mum Mary normally sings to the Valley of the Nire. Will she be singing out in the Valley of the Nire tonight?
Yes, only one place to start on this week's show. Liam Cahill has agreed to stay on as Waterford hurling manager for 2022 with the option of a further 12 months. WLR big match commentator Kieran O'Connor, what was your reaction when you heard the news?
Relief. Oh my God. I was quietly confident that Liam would stay, but as it got closer and I heard the news wouldn't be out till Thursday, I started having doubts. And I know the proud tip man he is, but I also know the value he puts on the group of lads he's put together. But to overall, Tom, it was just fantastic when I got the news. Actually, it was County Treasurer John Jackson relayed me the news early Thursday morning, and geez, it was just brilliant for everyone involved.
After Waterford beat Tipperary in the All-Ireland quarter-final, Kieran, you could tell during Liam's post-match interview that he found it very difficult to knock his own county out of the championship, and maybe people felt that the draw of his own native county would persuade him to go with Tipperary. Why do you think he has chosen Waterford in the end?
As you say, it's a very difficult one. We saw it in the past with Gerald and Justin playing Cork in those big matches, and then Roland Davy with Clare. I think what the players gave him back, the honesty, the loyalty, the trust, the work rate, the commitment, the dedication, all Liam and Mikey Beavan's principles, the lads delivered on. So I think Liam now, it was a very difficult one to walk away. It was very, obviously being a tip man and a proud tip man, as you say, and married to a lady whose his father-in-law, Len Gaynor, one of the greats of all time in Tipperary, didn't make it easier as well, I'm sure. No, but I think the values the lads brought, and Liam has a lot of old school values, I always with latest technology. I think he mixes that brilliantly. And to my mind, I think that was the final decision. The group of lads that he had put together had done everything he asked them. In 2 difficult years, COVID, Liam has never had a clear run at preparing teams. Think of it like that. I know all teams hadn't. But for Liam and Mikey Beav and the fabulous backroom team he has together, we'll talk about that in a minute, I think that in the end, in my mind, made up his decision.
Yeah, I think you're right there about the values. I think Liam and Mikey Beavans place a high value on, like you mentioned, dedication and loyalty in his statement, and the players have left a big impression on him, Kieran, but I also think the backing of the county board and the sponsors as well. How big a role did that play in his decision, do you think?
That's been huge, because as a county manager, you want to work with a county board, not against the county board, not having aggro every week. And I think credit to all the officers, but in particular Sean Michael O'Regan, I think the county chairman and all involved, but I think Sean Michael in particular. And I was over some of the sessions earlier this year in the Fairfield, and John Jackson, the county treasurer, was at every session ensuring that the link was maintained, and Pat Flynn as county secretary, and everybody involved. But I think Sean Michael deserves great credit, because there's a trust there as well between the two of them. And as you said, TQS and Maura and Tom Quilty have been unbelievable. They had 2 very difficult years to start off with. They stayed on board. They liked what they saw with Liam. The company is sold, but part of the selling of the company was to stay on board again. So I think that's brilliant all around. So the combination of sponsor, county board, but in particular the management and the players, we're all in this together. It's a real team, capital T, and I think that's all part of it for a success that we're all craving for.
Absolutely, it's a real united effort at the moment, Kieran. And Liam also mentioned in his statement, unfinished business, more to come from this team. Kieran, what do you think he has in mind?
Well, Tomas, I was really annoyed that we were made play 3 of the biggest games of the year in 14 days this year. Now, I know the plans were made earlier in the fixtures, but that wasn't the height of COVID. Coming out of COVID, we're all glad just to get a game. We'd play 2 games a week to get the championship up and running. Things had moved on a lot, and the performance against Galway of course, Tip, and then even Limerick, despite the injuries and the problems that we had coming into the game, Liam knows what he has. He's seen it at first hand. He knows what's to come with the likes of Tig, the Burka, Pádraig Mahoney coming back. He's seen the under-20s last year and the year before, been so unlucky not to advance further. He knows what's there from his years with the under-20. The Mark Fitzgeralds, the Corrick Dailies, the Michael Kileys, who we saw coming on to such great effect, Gavin Fives, James Power, and some very promising minors down the line as well. But I think overall he sees there's a good package there, but more importantly, he's everyone on the one him sheet, and they're on the sheet with him.
Is his eyes on the big prize, Kieran, the All-Ireland?
Oh, definitely. And silverware, I'd say Munster. I'd say Liam, as I say, very much old school in lots of his principle. A Munster title for Liam would be very important too, and he'd like to go the direct route. Now we're in a province with a county who wear green and white jerseys, doesn't make it easy. But Tomas, to his credit, just before we come in here, we mentioned we have beaten all the big counties, bar Limerick, in 2 years, which is a major achievement. We've beaten Galway, we've beaten Tip, we've beaten Kilkenny, beaten Clare, beaten Cork. Beaten all except Limerick. Now Limerick are the team that everyone is gunning for with a target on their back. We beat him in the league this year, might be known a league game, but it laid a marker in principle that, and I don't think our lads fear Limerick as much as some of the other counties do.
Just finally, Kieran, you touched on a couple of players there. What sort of changes could we see to the Waterford team now for 2022?
Well, I think first of all, Tadhg de Burca. And I still go back to the All-Ireland 2 years ago, like Tadhg getting injured, of all the players that time. It was like putting a needle in a balloon. Even we were doing commentary at the time, and of all the players to lose, you wouldn't wish ill on anybody. But when I saw Tadhg coming off that day, I knew whatever chance we had was really fading rapidly. I would think when hoping Tadhg and Pádraig Mahoney will come back into the fray as regards content. The under-20 guys I'm excited about. I think Mark Fitzgerald is a real good prospect. Michael Kiley, we saw what Michael did in cameo appearances this year. I think Corrick Daly is a fabulous hurler playing centre-back with UCC, which will keep him focused. Please God, when the Fitzgibbon Cup come back, Gavin Fives, James Power. Put that together with the panel that's there, I think. And as you know, this year, Tomas, he used over 30 players. Every game we used the full complement of 20, and often off the bench is where we actually won our game. So there's a serious panel there. It'll take a lot of hard work, but I think the ingredients are there for a really super 2022, and the big prize is where we're all looking for, Tomas. Looking forward to it already. WLR big match commentator Kieran O'Connor, thanks so much for your time today. No problem, Tomas, no problem.
Steady it down, says Liam. They're all looking at their watch. I'm looking at 73 minutes on my watch.
This is it.
The Waterford crowd are on their feet. We haven't beaten it for a while. Today is going to be the day for Waterford. Line ball, Bennett coming. What a proud day for the Bennetts. 3 Bennetts starting out on this Waterford team. You have to go back to the great Whelans of Portlaw. What an achievement. 3 brothers playing senior inter-county and all playing such a huge part. Bennett instead pucks the ball out over wide. We should hear the final whistle. It's all over. And Waterford have beaten Tipperary for the first time since 2008. We suffered 7 defeats, we'd 1 draw, but we're back with a bang, and the man that led us to this great victory is a Tip man, but very much a Waterford man today.
We love Waterford. We are WLR.
Well, 3-time All-Star Jamie Barron is the July winner of the WLR Granville Hotel GA Award. The 4-mile water midfielder was man of the match in the All-Ireland qualifier win over Galway, as he had 4 points from play. And I asked Jamie about what clicked into place on the day.
I think we're under a lot of pressure in the first 2 games. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to perform and probably bring to the table what we've been doing in training, and unfortunately that didn't come together for us. And then come that Galway game, I think we kind of said we'd leave the handbrake off a bit and just go for it, attack it a bit more, and just see could we unleash ourselves a little bit better. And thankfully it came good for us against Galway and against Tipperary then the following day.
Yeah, did those 2 games really show what this team is all about, Jamie?
Yeah, I think that them 2 performances were really what we've been looking for since Liam and Mikey Beavan and them have come into play with us with the Waterford senior setup. So I think the 2 of them 2 performances really shows what the boys are all about and what way they want us to play and stuff like that. And look, we've been working on that, and unfortunately the 2 games before we didn't show how good we could have been, but I think in them 2 games we showed what we are able to do. And
you struck up a really good partnership with Peter Hogan at midfield, Jamie. How did you find playing alongside him?
Playing with Peter is really easy, to be honest. Peter's he's a serious worker. He gets through lots of work. He puts emphasis on his hooks, his blocks, his his tackling, and he gets on a lot of possessions, and he's very sensible when he has the ball. So Peter is actually very easy to play with there, and his communication throughout the games is very high as well. So it's very easy to get along and play with a lad who's so tuned into what's going on around him.
Now Jamie Byrne from the middle of the field. Has he got it right this time? Yes, he has. Over the bar it goes. Byrne on fire. Number 4 for Jamie Byrne. That was a sweet strike down. Middle of the field between the post over the black spot.
Now you're hurling. Lorna Porca with Tomas McCarthy on WLR.